So in the last class we have discussed the random access channels, and we have studied the HARQ in the uplink. So in that we have studied the FTD mode and TDD mode. So today we'll start with the second part of the fourth module, that is physical layer procedures. So in that we have we'll study the hybrid ARQ procedures. So the channel quality indicator, that is CPI feedback, precoder for the closed loop MIMO operations, so uplink channel sounding, buffer status reporting in the uplink. So later we will discuss the scheduling and resource allocation. So next we have cell research, we have random access procedures, and in that last we have power control in the uplink. So here before going to study the hybrid ARQ feedback, so here we have introduction, that is the physical layer procedures that provide the crucial services to the higher layers. So here the physical layers procedures or functions in the LTA includes that the hybrid ARQ, that is HARQ, and channel quality indicator. So the dynamic channel dependent scheduling and MIMO transmission, pre-coding for MIMO closed loop operations. So the rank indicator and pre-coding matrix indicator, that is PMI feedback. So the cell search and random access procedures. So power control in the uplink. So here the downlink, the LTE downlink employs the synchronous adaptive HARQ protocol, for which the retransmissions are scheduled in a similar fashion to the first transmission, that is the TTI and resource allocation for the retransmission is dynamically determined by the scheduler. So in the uplink synchronous adaptive hybrid automatic repeat request protocol, so it is used for which the retransmissions are automatically scheduled after a certain time window, and the user equipment does not need to send the HARQ process number. So here this reduces the amount of signaling overhead in the uplink, so with different frame structures. So the HARQ feedback is different for TDD and FDD mode. So here in the LTE, so the hybrid that is the HARQ protocol is applied to improve the transmission reliability over the wireless channel. So here HARQ is equal to ARQ plus FEC, that is forward error correction by soft combining. So here the soft combining is an error correction technique in which the bad packets are not discarded but stored in a buffer. So here the basic idea is that two or more packets received with the insufficient information can be combined together in such a way that so the total signal can be decoded. So here a mechanism HARQ is implemented to correct the error packets in the physical layer. So here the principle of HARQ, so it works at the physical layer but controlled by the MAC layer. So if the received data has an error, then the receiver buffers of the data and requests a retransmission from the sender. So here when the receiver receives the retransmission data, so it then combines it with the buffer data prior to the channel decoding and error detection. So this helps the performance of the retransmission. So here we have two methods of HARQ protocols used in the LTE. First one is the synchronous adaptive HARQ protocol, which is used by the downlink transmission. And the second one is synchronous adaptive HARQ protocol, which is used by the uplink transmission. So here next we have the HARQ transmission, HARQ feedback for the downlink transmission. So here for the HARQ transmission in the downlink, so the user equipments need to feedback the associated acknowledgement or non-acknowledgement information on the physical uplink control channel or physical uplink shared channel. So here one acknowledgement and or non-acknowledgement bits is transmitted in case of a single code word in the downlink transmission. So while two acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement bits are transmitted in case of two code word downlink transmission. So one acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement bit transmitted in the case of single code word downlink transmission. So while in the two acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement bits are transmitted in two code word downlink transmission. So here for the two code word transmission, so the code word swap is enabled by a 1-bit transport block to the code word swap flag. So which allows both the code words to experience similar channel conditions after the HARQ retransmission. So when the channel is static or experiences little or no variation between the subsequent HARQ transmissions. So here for the TDD mode, so the user equipment transmits the HARQ in the subframe N for the physical downlink shared channel, transmission in the subframe N-4. So when both the HARQ, ACK and scheduling request, that is SR, are transmitted in the same subframe, that is the physical uplink controlled channel format, that is 1A or 1B. So here a user equipment shall be transmit the HARQ acknowledgement and on its associated HARQ acknowledgement physical uplink control channel resource for the negative scheduling request transmission and transmit the HARQ acknowledgement on the assigned scheduled request physical uplink control channel resource for the positive scheduling request transmission. So both the HARQ and acknowledgement and scheduling requests are transmitted in the same subframe. So here user equipment shall transmit the HARQ acknowledgement and it's associated with the HARQ acknowledgement physical uplink control channel resource for a negative scheduling request transmission. So here the user equipment transmit the HARQ acknowledgement on its assigned scheduling request physical uplink control channel resource for a positive scheduling request transmission. So next we have HARQ feedback for the TDD mode. So the procedures are so in this mode the time association between the data transmission and the acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement cannot be maintained due to the variable numbers of the downlink and uplink subframes being present in the frame. So here the uplink and downlink delay between the data and the acknowledgement is dependent on the TDD configuration chosen. So hence a fixed delay between a transmission and the HARQ acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement is not possible in the TDD LTE. So here for the TDD mode in a asymmetric uplink and downlink cases with more downlink subframes than the uplink subframe. So it may happen that more than one acknowledgement needs to needs to be sent in a certain uplink subframe. So therefore, the HIRQ reporting in the different from the FTD mode. So here for the TDD, two acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement feedback modes are supported by the higher configuration. So in that the acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement bundling, which is used for the physical uplink control channel format 1A or 1B, which is the default mode and consists of 1 or 2 bits for the information. So in the second we have acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement multiplexing, which is used for the PU, that is a physical uplink control channel format 1B, which consists between the 1 and 4 bits of information. So here the feedback of HIRQ in the uplink subframe N correspondence to the detection of the physical downlink shared channel transmission with the subframes N minus K. So where the parameter K is the difference, K is the different for the different uplink and downlink configuration and different subframes, and K is not belong, small k is not belongs to capital K, with the capital K specified in the capital K specified. So here we can see that for the uplink and downlink configuration and in the in the sum of the subframes, multiple acknowledgements are needed with the maximum number of 4, so that the number of information bits for the acknowledgement and non-acknowledgement multiplexing is between the 1 and 4. So for the ACK or NAK bundling, multiple acknowledgements are combined by the logical AND operation. So and then the bundled 1 or 2 ACK or NAK bits are transmitted using the physical uplink control channel format 1A and the physical uplink control channel format 1B respectively. So this is about the HIRQ feedback for the downlink transmission. So is there any doubts? So next we have HIRQ indicator for the uplink transmission. So here for the uplink HIRQ process, as the spatial multiplexing of the transport blocks is not supported, so here only a single bit HIRQ indicator needs to be sent to each scheduled user equipment, which is carried on the PHICH physical channel. So here what will happen? So for the uplink HIRQ process, so as the spatial multiplexing of transport blocks is not supported, so here only a single bit HIRQ indicator needs to be sent to each scheduled user equipment, which is carried on the PHICH physical channel. So here for the FTD mode, and ACK and ACK or NAK received and the PHICH assigned to the user equipment in the subframe N, which is associated with the physical uplink shared channel transmission in the subframe N-4. So here for the TDD mode, so the different from the feedback for the downlink transmission, so there is no problem to transmit the multiple acknowledgements on the PHICH channel. So here for the uplink and downlink configurations, that is 1 to 6. So an acknowledgement or non-acknowledgement received on the PHICH in the subframe small n, which is associated with the physical uplink shared channel transmission in the subframe n minus k as n minus k. For the TDD with uplink or downlink configuration 0. So here if there is pushed, that is a PUSCH transmission in subframe 4 or 9, and acknowledgement or non-acknowledgement which is received on the PHICH channel in the subframe n, which is associated with the physical uplink shared transmission in the subframe is n minus 6. So otherwise an acknowledgement or non-acknowledgement received on the PHICH channel in the subframe n, which is associated with the physical uplink shared channel transmission in the subframe n minus k with k with n subframe is n minus k. Subframe with n minus k. So this is about HRQ indicator for the uplink transmission. So next we have channel quality indicator feedback, that is CQI feedback. So is there any doubts in HRQ feedback downlink and uplink transmission? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ?
Yes, sir.
So next we have channel quality indicator feedback. So here the channel quality indicator contains the information which is sent from a user equipment to the eNode B to indicate a suitable downlink transmission data rate, that is the modulation and coding scheme value. So here CQI is a 4-bit integer and is based on the observed signal to interference plus noise ratio, that is SINR at the user equipment. So here the CQI is a 4-bit integer and it is based on the observed signal to noise interference ratio at the user equipment. In second. So Hari, so here the CQI estimation process takes into the account the user equipment capability such as the number of antennas and the type of receiver used for the detection. So this is important since for the same SINR value, so the MCS level that can be supported by the user equipment depends on the various user equipment capabilities. So which needs to be taken in account in order for the eNode B to select an optimum modulation and coding scheme level for the transmission. So here the channel quality indicator reported values are used by the eNode B for the downlink scheduling and link adaptation, which are important features of the LTE. So here the LTE supports the wideband and subband CQI reporting. So here in the wideband CQI reporting, so the wideband report provides the one CQI value for the entire downlink system bandwidth. So here it has a value of a single 4-bit integer, which represents an effective SINR as observed by the user equipment. So it is the most efficient in terms of uplink bandwidth consumption, since it requires only a single 4-bit feedback. So with wideband CQI, so the variation in the SINR across the channel due to the frequency selective nature of the channel is masked out. So it is not suitable. So the wideband CQI reporting is not suitable for frequency selective scheduling. So it is the preferred mode to use for the higher speeds where the channel changes rapidly, since the frequent subband reporting would exact a large position of the uplink bandwidth. So here wideband CQI is also the preferred mode for the services such as VoLP, where a large number of large number of simultaneous user equipments are supported, and the latency is more critical than the overall throughput, since VoLP is typically a low rate application with a very strict latency requirement. So next we have the subband CQI reporting. So here it is used to support the frequency selective scheduling. Each user equipment needs to report the CQI with a fine frequency granularity, which is possible with the subband CQI reporting. So here a subband CQI report consists of a vector of CQI value, where each of the CQI value is representative with the SINR observed by the user equipment over a subband. So here a subband is a collection of n plus, where the value of n can be 2, 3, 4, 7, and 4. So it requires more uplink bandwidth, but it is more efficient, since it allows for a frequency selective scheduling, which maximizes the multi-user diversity gain. So here one of the critical aspects of designing the CQI feedback mechanism for the LTE is, so here the optimization between the uplink system performance and the uplink bandwidth, which is consumed by the feedback mechanism. So here the wideband CQI is the most efficient in terms of uplink bandwidth consumption, since it requires only a single 4-bit. So this is not feedback cannot be done using a wideband CQI feedback. So on the other hand, the subband CQI feedback requires more uplink bandwidth, but is more efficient, since it allows for it maximizes the multi-user diversity gain of an OFDMA system. So here the wideband CKI is a preferred mode to use the high speed used for the high speeds where the channel changes rapidly, since frequent subband reporting would exert a large position of the uplink bandwidth. So here the wideband CKI is also preferred more for the services such as VoIP, where the large number of simultaneous user equipments are supported. The latency is more critical than the overall throughput, since the VoIP is typically a low latency, low data rate application with very strict latency requirement. So this is about the channel quality indicator feedback. So next we have a primer on CQI estimation. So it is clear with CQI feedback, everyone? So next we have a primer on CQI estimation. So here the downlink cell specific reference signals, that is RS, are used by the each user equipment to estimate the MIMO LTE channel from the E node B. So here the estimated MIMO channels along with the known reference signals is then used to calculate the other cell interference level. So the important thing is to understand that reference signals are sent in both the uplink and the downlink, while the CQI is sent in the uplink only. So but it reports the downlink signal strength based on the channel estimation. So here the user equipment uses the estimated channel and interference plus noise variance to compute the SINR on the physical resource element carrying the reference signal. So here the user equipment computes the SINR samples over the multiple OFDMA symbols and the subcarriers, which are then used to calculate the effective SINR. So the effective SINR is given as So the user equipment computes the SNR samples or the multiple OFDM symbols and the subcarriers, which are then used to calculate an effective SINR. So the effective SINR is given as. So the effective SINR is given as SINR effective is equal to alpha 1 I power minus 1 into 1 by n 1 over n into summation of k is equal to 1 to capital N into I into SINR k divided by alpha 2. So where n is the number of samples, so capital N is the number of samples, so alpha 1 and alpha 2, alpha 1 and alpha 2 adapt to the different modulation and coding schemes. So here the most commonly used functions of I are the most commonly used functions of I. Functions are identity function, that is I of gamma is equal to gamma. So the Shannon capacity, that is I of gamma is equal to log 2 into 1 plus gamma. So exponential effective SINR mapping, it is exponential effective SINR mapping, which is equal to I of gamma is equal to e power minus gamma. So the mutual information equivalent SINR mapping or the modulation constant capacity. So here the exponential effective SINR mapping, that is EESM, and the mutual information based methods are preferred since they have been shown to give the more accurate estimate to the channel quality. So here in this case of wideband CPI feedback, so the user equipment measures the SINR from the reference signals over all the PRBs and then computes the CQI based on the effective SINR across the entire channel bandwidth. So here the subband CQI, so the user equipment measures the SINR over the PRBs which are contained in the given subband and then computes the CQI. So here a user, so if a user equipment reports the CQI value for the particular subband, so it is called as subband feedback. So if a user equipment reports a single CQI value for whole system bandwidth, so it is called as wideband feedback. So based on the estimated effective SINR, so the user equipment picks the CQI index that indicates the highest MCS level, that is modulation code rate level, that can be supported with the 100% BLER on the first HARQ transmission. That is a block error rate, which is the 10% of block error rate on the first HARQ transmission. So here the CQI feedback is used by the eNode B to select an optimum PDSCH transport blocks with a combination of modulation scheme and transport block size corresponding to the CQI index that could be received with the target block error probability after the first HARQ transmission. So here the target block error probability is left open as an implementation choice. So here the typical values are in the range of 10 to 25%. So typical values in the range of 10 to 25%. So here the supported CQI index and their interpretations. So there are 16 CQI values which require a 4-bit CQI feedback. So the efficiency of a given CQI index is calculated as, that is, efficiency is equal to QM into code rate. The QM is number of bits in the modulation constellation. So taking the CQI index 4 as the example. So here QM is equal to QM is equal to 2 for the QPSK. So we have efficiency is equal to 2 into 300 divided by 102, that is approximately 0.6016 information bits per symbol. So here the efficiency of a given CQI index is calculated as, that is efficiency is equal to QM into code rate. So where QM is the number of bits in the modulation constellation. So taking the CQI index 4 as an example. So here QM is equal to 2 for QPSK. So we have efficiency is equal to 2 into 308 divided by 1024, which is approximately 0.61, 0.6016. information bits per symbol. Information bits per symbol. So this is about a primer on the CQM estimation. So it is clear with everyone. Do you have any doubts? ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. So next we have CQI feedback modes. So here CQI is reported with other uplink control information, including the precoder matrix indicator, that is PMI, and the rank indicator RI on the physical uplink shared channel or physical uplink controlled channel. So here the reporting of the CQI and PMI, and RI in the time domain can be categorized into two classes. So the first one is periodic reporting, and the second one is periodic reporting. So in the periodic reporting, so the user equipment reports the CQI, PMI, and rank indication. So with the reporting periods which are configured by the higher layer on the PUCCH, that is physical uplink shared controlled channels. So here in the periodic reporting, so if the user equipment is scheduled in the uplink, so the periodic reporting is carried on the physical uplink shared channel. So in the periodic reporting, so the user equipment reports the CQI, PMI, and RI using the physical uplink shared channel upon the receiving either a DCI format 0 or a random access request grant. So in the periodic reporting, so the feedback via the physical uplink shared channel can be used to provide the large and more detailed reporting in the single reporting instant compared to the periodic feedback. So here in the cases where the both periodic and where both periodic reporting on the PUCCH and the periodic reporting PUSCH happen to be on the same so here the user equipment may be only for the so here in the frequency domain, so the CQI reporting can be classified as a subband of CQI and wideband CQI. So both the periodic and aperiodic reporting modes supports the wideband and the subband CQI reporting. So in the case of periodic CQI reporting mode, so when the subband CQI is requested, so the user equipment cycles so the different subbands from one reporting instant to the next instant. So which will allow for the subband CQI reports without requiring too much overhead in the uplink. So here the only problem with this is that it could take a while for the eNode B to develop a complete picture in the order to effectively utilize the CQI information for the frequency selective scheduling. So for the periodic reporting, so the user equipment can report the subband CQI across the all the bands in the one single report. So this is possible since the available bandwidth on the PU physical uplink shared channel is much larger than that of the physical uplink control channel. So in the LTE there are two distinct reporting mechanisms for the subband CQI feedback. So when the periodic and in the periodic reporting mode is used, so that is a high layer configured subband report and user equipment selected subband report that will continue in the next class. So is there any doubts anyone?